Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Double O Late Night Show. I know what you're thinking, Owen, why did you shave the beard? I had a modeling thing today and they wanted like a youthful look for it, so I had to shave sadly. But that's not why I'm putting this little intro in here at the start. As I was editing the video, I realized that I wanted to make it clear to people who were on this trip that I thoroughly enjoyed my experience on the trip. The reason why I'm telling this story is just because, at night there was a lot of funny moments and I wanted to share them. I feel like I'm allowed to share my experience of a trip. Okay, and for this video, I even looked over a lot of the vlog footage that I took because I was planning to make a vlog, but couldn't the morning after because I was so tired. And watching the vlog footage, I was reminded of all the great times we had. So don't get mad at me, okay? I don't want to see any paragraphs tomorrow morning complaining about the video, okay? Like, comment, subscribe. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is true, it is true. This is the first time I'm rocking the Double O merch on the Late Night Show, Double O Productions on the back. Let's go. Oh my god. Feels good, it feels comfortable. Listen, if you want to match me, ladies and gentlemen, you know where to go, doubleoproductions.net. We can all agree, if you want to upgrade your wardrobe, a lot of my friends have got some merch recently. Best piece of clothing they have, okay? I'm not biased, okay? I'm not biased, but it's the best piece of clothing they ever wore, okay? I don't want to be that person, but I'm being that person. Ladies and gentlemen, doubleoproductions.net. 30 quid to sleep on the floor. How did I end up in this situation? Okay, well, let's start with some context, okay? So this searching event happened 6 to 7 months ago. 6, 7, hilarious. Essentially what was going down is we were planning a big group trip. We were gonna go watch one of my friends, a guitarist, play at this convention, okay? And there was 17 of us going down to watch him. It was about a 4-hour train, so we decided, we're gonna stay over in this certain city. Should I just say a random city? I'm gonna say Brighton. I'm gonna say it was in Brighton. It wasn't. It was quite far from Brighton, but I'm gonna say it was in Brighton for no reason. I've always wanted to go to Brighton. I haven't got around to it yet. Might do a road trip with the boys. Who knows? Anyway, we were like, hey, let's all just put our money together and book a place that we can all stay. Obviously, it being 17 of us, that's gonna be quite hard to find accommodation for that. One of the people in this group, let's call him Oasis, okay? Our boy Oasis, he takes charge and he's like, listen, from these 2 Airbnbs, one holds 6, one holds 9. So he takes charge, he books these 2, and we send him money. I paid 30 quid to him to stay in this accommodation. He also bought a bunch of tickets for people, train tickets for people who eventually ended up paying him as well. However, ladies and gentlemen, a couple weeks before said trip, 6 to 7 people pull out. I think it was 6, it might have been 7. I'm generally being serious, it is either 6 or 7, I'm not just doing it for the bit. Oh no, there's panic now. This guy Oasis has to decide whether he should give a refund to the people who pulled out and try and find another couple people in the next 2 weeks to fill the spots, the train tickets and the Airbnb spots, or he doesn't refund them and we just get more room, on the train and in the Airbnb. Which, if you're asking me, ladies and gentlemen, if I was in his position, if I was in Oasis's position, that's hard to say, I would have probably not give them a refund. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just saying, if you plan to go somewhere and you pay a lot of money for it and then you pull out, you're not making that my problem, okay? Anyway, so they do pull out and Oasis does give them a refund. I don't know what went down, but now Oasis has to find other people to give the spots to. And we do. We find 4 other people to fill I think it was 6. We find 4 other people to fill the Airbnb and the train tickets. And I'm pretty sure they pay. But there's still 2 spots left in the Airbnb, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to that in a minute. Jump to the day of transportation. We get on the train, ladies and gentlemen, and we're cruising down. Whatever. We get to Brighton. And, we arrive in Brighton, ladies and gentlemen, and we wander about because the Airbnbs aren't ready yet, but we finally get to them. And there's 2 Airbnbs, ladies and gentlemen. There's a big one that holds 9 people, and a smaller one that holds 6 people. Anyway, we get to the 9-bedroom first, ladies and gentlemen. And we're not just looking at the rooms in this place, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking at the living room as well, and the TV size. Because on this night of this convention, it is also a WrestleMania event. And a lot of people in this group love WrestleMania, okay? This is important to the story. And a lot of them on that night were planning to stay up from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. to watch the WrestleMania. Important to the story, okay? The initial plan was for the WrestleMania people to all stay in the same Airbnb so they don't disturb people trying to sleep, you know, because it's really loud and whatnot. That was the initial plan going in, ladies and gentlemen. However, we get to the 9-bedroom place. And the living room is pretty shit. I don't want to be that I don't want to insult the Airbnb, but it wasn't good. Okay, it wasn't good. So in this place, there's 3 double beds and 3 single beds. There were a couple couples. I think 4 couples on this trip. So, you know, 3 of them would obviously take the double beds. And then there's 3 single beds as well that people could sleep in. So that would have worked out, ladies and gentlemen, because a lot of the couples didn't want to watch WWE. So people could have assumed that, you know, the living room is shit in this one. This is the non-WWE house. That makes sense. So it was 6 months ago, so, you know, there was a meme drought on. And I did start referring to the big house as the Goon house and a small house as the Gyat house, okay? Listen, I did not come up with that. A lot of people said I came up with it. I heard it in the walls, okay? That's how they were referenced on this trip, and that's how I will refer to them further on in this video. Oasis is like, okay, cool, got the keys for this place. Let's go to the Gyat house, okay, the smaller one, the 6-bedroom. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm ready to go. You know, I've looked around. Let's go check out this other one because I was just curious, you know. Anyway, I'm at the front door of the Goon house and I'm like, hey everyone, we're gonna go to the Gyat house, okay? Currently outside the Goon house, I think people are calling it. I don't know. No. I said that really loud and it was kind of embarrassing, but it was funny at the time, I swear. So it was fun. Everyone was laughing. Anyway, I do my announcement and what do I hear back? Crickets. Crickets, ladies and gentlemen, nothing. Hello? They've all dropped their bags off right now. And they're like, hey, you guys go check out the Gyat house. We're gonna stay here. Because it was closer to the bus station to the venue. So we're like, whatever. Okay, we'll go check out the Gyat house. We'll report back on which one's better for WWE. And the Gyat house was only 10 minutes away from the Goon house. It was very easy to get back and forth between them. Okay? Keep that in your brain, okay? Anyway, we get to the Gyat house, okay? We look around. The bedrooms are kind of shit in this one, I'm not gonna lie. Instead of like every room having a single bed or double bed in it, there were only 2 rooms. There was a double bed and single bed in one, double bed and single bed in the other. And then there was a living room couch that someone could sleep on as well. So there was actually 7 beds in this one, okay? We get to this one and the living room's great, okay? Big TV, big couch we can all chill on. There's a table in the living room. The kitchen's right next to it. Amazing. So good. This will be the WWE house where people watch WWE. So you kind of assume then, this is where the WrestleMania people will be staying. That's what you assume, because if they're watching it to 4 a.m. and you say I don't want to watch WrestleMania and I went to sleep that night, I would be in that house that isn't watching WrestleMania and staying up to 4 a.m. That is the assumed logic that I have in my brain. Okay, it makes sense. But the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people don't like things that make sense. Anyway, we meet up, everyone, and we go meet up with the guitarist who's playing in Brighton that night. And he's like, hey guys, so I know you have 2 more spots left. Me and my boy, who's like helping me with the convention, we just cancelled our hotel so we can come stay with you. I guess we have 2 extra beds, so I guess that's fine. But now, ladies and gentlemen, the Airbnbs are full. There's no spare bedrooms, there's no spare beds, okay? Anyway, the convention concert is done. It's a great time. I didn't know all of the songs. I love seeing my friend jamming. He looked like he was having a good time. Anyway, we get back to the Gyat house. I go to the people who have left their bags at the Goon house but are excited for WrestleMania and watching WrestleMania. I go up to them and go like, do you want to walk the like 10 minutes to go grab your bag and bring it over if you're going to watch WrestleMania here till 4 a.m. And ladies and gentlemen, what do these people say to me? What do they say to me? They say no. Okay, what? So you're gonna stay here till 4 a.m. instead of grabbing your stuff, and now I have to stay here tonight where you're staying up till 4 a.m. watching WrestleMania? Outrageous, ladies and gentlemen, outrageous. And I haven't even got to the main point yet, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, on this trip, I am the youngest person, and it's not even like, oh, I'm youngest by like, come on, I'm the youngest by 2 whole years, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm like trying to work out the logic of these people older than me. People thinking, oh no, we'll just watch WrestleMania till 4 a.m. in the place you're sleeping tonight, and then we'll walk home instead of grabbing our bags and switching rooms with you. But that's the situation. I grabbed some ramen after the convention because I was hungry. I made that and I'm like trying to work this out like, God, I really don't want to stay in the Gyat house that night. I don't want to share a bed with someone more than 2 years older than me. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person unless it's a woman. Unless it's a woman, I do not want to share a bed with someone. Is that weird? I don't think that's weird to say. I'm fine sharing a bed with someone head to toe if they're like my good friends, okay, and they're my age. Any older than that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm like, no, okay, it's a bit weird, okay, for me personally, okay, I don't care what you, okay, I don't care. So I'm trying to get one of these single beds. It gets about 1 a.m. right now. WrestleMania has been going on for an hour. Anyway, the guy who was helping with the convention, who used to have the hotel, walks straight into the Gyat house, straight upstairs, and straight takes a single bed, ladies and gentlemen. One gone, okay? I'm conversating with people downstairs, so I'm like, oh fuck, I actually do have to go get a single bed. Not 5 seconds later, or a couple seconds later, ladies and gentlemen, Oasis, the guy who booked both Airbnbs, goes upstairs and takes the other single bed. This is bad, ladies and gentlemen, this is bad. At around 1:30, ladies and gentlemen, I go upstairs and I'm like to Oasis, I was like, broski, please, single bed for me, please? We'd really appreciate it. He goes, okay, yeah, sure. Because I think he did, I kind of understand it would be a bit weird. Especially with like, most of the people staying in the Gyat house, I didn't really know that well. I'm in a single bed. I'm good. I'm chilling. But my God, ladies and gentlemen, WrestleMania is so loud, okay? Not just like the reactions from the people watching it, but the TV was like directly under my bed. It was like TV, roof, my bed right here. And it's just so loud, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I put my headphones in, I couldn't sleep in it. You know, I think this is pretty reasonable. I need 2 things to sleep, ladies and gentlemen. For it to be quiet and for it to be dark. That's all I ask. And I couldn't get the quiet. So I go downstairs and I'm like to this room full of people. Listen, team, you know, it's been fun, but get out of the house. Get out of the Gyat house. Go watch WrestleMania back at the Good House. And you know, I get some complaints. I'm like, whoa. I don't care. You guys aren't staying here tonight. Get out. And they do. They're like, okay, fair enough. So we get them all out. You'd think everything would be dandy at this point. I'll go back to the single bed. You know, there's still some people awake who are staying at the Gyat house, but that's fine. Okay, I just want to make something clear before I get into this part of the story. There's some speculation that could take place on this night, ladies and gentlemen. I will not be getting into it, just because I have no evidence for it. But, listen, I know what you did, okay? And you can lie to me about it, but I heard things, ladies and gentlemen. I heard them. Okay, sorry, that's directed at one person. We won't get into it on this video. No, we won't get into it at all, I promise. I'm in my single bed. So I'm snug as a bug in a rug, you know? And the light goes on. The main light in me and Oasis's room go on. Hello? It's the performer who was, you know, playing guitar. This is funny. Okay, if he gets mad at me for saying this is objectively funny, okay? He's at my door frame and he's like, we need to talk about the bed arrangements. And I'm confused because his girlfriend's there. And I'm like, he goes like, single bed where his boy, who he was sharing a hotel with, is in one room. Double bed, him and his girlfriend, Oasis and this other guy, and then me. And then Charlie of Hoshiomi downstairs on the couch. This is a great plan, okay? Everyone's happy, everyone gets what they want. He says this is verbatim, okay? He goes, I do not feel comfortable sharing a bed with my girlfriend with someone else in the room. What does that even mean, okay? What are you trying to imply here? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Listen. And I'm like, bro, you should have kept the hotel. That's all I'm saying. Okay, hopefully that doesn't get me in trouble, but. So he's like, Owen, you're gonna have to give up your single bed. And I'm like, I can't really say no to him since this is his night, you know? But I am like, what the fuck, bro? Instead of sharing a bed with his girlfriend, he'd rather share a bed with this other guy who was there. So now me and Oasis have to share a bed. I'm kind of pissed, head to toe, in this double bed situation. with Oasis, who I know well, but I don't know that well, you know? So it's girlfriend of the guy who's playing, Oasis me, okay? And another detail about Oasis, he is pretty sick. You know, for me to share a bed with him, not the best idea for me and my immune system, you know? What should I call the girlfriend? I'll call her calcium, magnesium, and zinc with vegan vitamin D3. No, I'm not gonna call her that. I'm gonna call her Turtle, okay? Turtle, who's Player's girlfriend. I'm gonna call, yeah, Player as in the guy who played guitar. Okay, we got this. Turtle is over there like, I know it's 3 a.m., but I'm gonna take a shower right now. Bro, go to bed, take a shower in the morning. I don't want to be that person. You know, I know the struggles of like having long hair and drying it in the morning, but I'm trying to sleep. All I need to sleep is 2 things, ladies and gentlemen. For it to be quiet and dark. She turns the main light on and goes out for a shower. 20 minutes goes by. Your boy Oasis starts snoring up a storm, ladies and gentlemen. He had a cold, so I'm not judging him for it. But my god, ladies and gentlemen. First darkness, now quiet is gone. It's 3:20 a.m. Okay, I'm so done. I'm done with this whole arrangement, ladies and gentlemen. 3:40 rolls around. Turtle is still not back from showering. 3:40 a.m. not done showering. I'm literally not gonna sleep tonight unless I get out of this situation. I pick up my towel and I go like walking up and down the steps of the Airbnb, just back and forth, you know, like a zombie. And it finally hits me. There's no room to sleep. I don't want to wake Charlie off Hoshiomi up. The shower is still on. The bathroom's like not, you know, an option. Ladies and gentlemen, the only room left is the kitchen. Your boy lays down the towel out. I just think about sleeping on the kitchen counter, like just so I'd be off ground. But I thought like, what if I roll off and just die? You know, just like smack my head, you know? So I was like, that's not a good idea. I'm gonna sleep on the floor. And I did, ladies and gentlemen. This is the moment where some things happened around the kitchen that I'm not gonna talk about. I don't wanna, you know, stuff did occur, ladies and gentlemen, that I will not speak on. But it was a very strange night. It was a very strange night. I slept from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. And then like at 7 a.m. I went upstairs to like the bed and just like kind of like did one of these at the end of the bed, just like with the duvet on my knees as I watched like Seinfeld or something. It's Owen editing this video currently. And I missed out a key detail. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I missed out a key detail. When I got back to the bed at like 7 a.m. in the morning, you know, I look over to the single bed where Turtle was sleeping, you know, and the bed I used to have before being kicked out, ladies and gentlemen. I look over and I have a weird realization, ladies and gentlemen. Turtle is now bald. I was so surprised and shocked. I was like, when did she do that in the shower? Did she shave her head? No, ladies and gentlemen. Of course she didn't. The guy who was sleeping with the player is now in my bed, ladies and gentlemen. My old bed. And Turtle is now sleeping with the player. And that leaves me thinking, what happened to the whole I don't feel comfortable sharing a bed with my girlfriends thing, you know? I just lost my bed for no reason, okay? Not the best night for me. Not the best night for Double O, ladies and gentlemen. But you know, morning came, ladies and gentlemen. I was so out of it the whole day. My train was at 5 p.m, which means I had to stay in Brighton. It wasn't Brighton. Brighton would have been lovely to stay in. But the town we were staying in was not the best. Went to Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast though. It was awesome. Loved it. Banana. Hard Rock Cafe Tokyo, baby. Haven't had a Dunkin' since Boston 2017, I believe. Or no, that's a lie actually. LA 2019. School trip. Grandma. Oh, what, Kayla, do you want to see what I got?
Yeah.
I got like the iced latte thing.
Ooh, sounds
So good.
I got like an ice mocha, so.
Fair. I remember meeting up with a lot of the people from the Goon House, ladies and gentlemen, the big Airbnb. A lot of the WrestleMania people, they were like, yeah, WrestleMania actually sucked last night. There were like 2 good events, but that was about it. And they all were like complaining about their struggle sleeping, and there was just me who slept on the kitchen floor. I got like an earlier train, and yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was a trip I went on 6 months ago.